Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk and back with another Snowflake Splendor inspired project, but this time it's a bit of a technique. So Technique Tuesday, and I'm just going to go through an oldie but a goodie, which is the baby wipe technique. And I'm using a little bit of the Snowflake Splendor DSP, which you can see here is got some lovely sort of snowflake images, understandably, but on the reverse there's some gorgeous like watercoloured and salt technique images with just hints of colour, and that kind of made me think about some of the stamps in the stamp set. You'll see here these have kind of got shaded colours on them. I thought, well, how could we recreate that kind of effect? And of course, oldie, as I say, oldie but goodie, baby wipe technique. So you'll see that some of these have already got shading on them, but some of the more solid ones, to get a slightly more shaded image, I thought we'd go for this. So you can see here, great for reproducing over Christmas. You can get lots of those from one baby wipe inspired one. I've used my frosted and clear epoxy droplets for a change. I just thought they were rather nice. I love the frosted ones. And I've used the Lovely Labels Pick a Punch, another favourite of mine, with these, 6 different labels that you can get in different widths. So 1/2, 3/4 and 1 inch widths that you've got as well. So let's get started. Snowflake Wishes, lots of sentiment. So I'm using this beautiful large image here. Don't be put off by the front cover because the stamps are loads bigger than they look on the front. So I might even use... perhaps use this small one as well, maybe. What you want is one that's kind of got solid bits on it to pick up the ink rather than detail. So I think this one should work quite well as well. It might even sit on a little A block. So I've used the 2 larger Snowflake, more solid ones here. Okay, so baby wipe technique, it is literally using baby wipes. Now what you want are baby wipes that are not particularly juicy. The ones I've got are a little bit on the juicy side. So what I would suggest you do is actually leave them open. So the baby wipe technique is where you actually create your own ink pad. So you'll need the refills from Stampin Up, and I've used 3 of the colours in Snowflake Splendor. So Highland Heather, Balmy Blue and Pool Party. So those are the 3 that I've used. And when you do the baby wipe technique, don't be tempted to cover the whole of the baby wipe, because depending on the size stamp that you're going to use, you may not need the whole image. You also don't want to use our normal tap 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 image. So that's the one I made. Now that one will actually stay quite nicely in a case as long as you keep it flat, and I can probably use that for 2 or 3 days. So just to show you, if you haven't got a clear case, I mean, these are so useful for all sorts of things. The other way you could do it is to pop these onto a block. And you'll see here I've got my nice large, I think that's my GE block. But obviously, if you've got a big block, or you could use your Stamparatus. So if you've got your really big block, this one, that's absolutely perfect. So take 2 baby wipes, and they also need to be ones that are plain, not patterned. Quite a few of the baby wipes these days have got cute little pictures on them. Not so good for this technique, to my mind anyway. So you're going to want that. You're going to want probably 3 complementary ink colours. You're going to want your stamps, and literally just a couple of scraps of card. And I want a bit of Whisper Wipe, and I want a bit of my DSP. So you'll want your trimmer. And the first thing you're going to do is create a card blank. So I'm using my thick Whisper Wipe because I'm not putting any layers. I've already trimmed this to 14.5 centimetres, and I'm just going to score that at 10.5 to create my card blank. Okay. And then what I'm also going to do is just pop one of my large post-it notes across the top edge, and that's so that when I stamp towards the top, I'm not going to go onto the back of my card. So that's what I want for that. As I said, a piece of cardstock that is 3 3/4 of an inch, so that's 1.9 centimetres by so 3/4 by 3 3/4. That's my sentiment. Then you want a little bit of DSP. And this is going to be 1 inch wide. So it's 1 inch already by 4 inches. Like so. And you're also going to want something like your Stampin' Scrub or your chamois to clean your stamp off in between stamping. And the reason for that is it's very easy to sort of muddy our stamps when you're doing this technique. These are photopolymer stamps, so I would recommend that you use your Stampin' PS mat. So to create our ink pad, what I do is just put a couple of drops. So I'm going to add my bit of Highland Heather, and then I'm going to add my Balmy Blue, and you'll see I'm just kind of creating a space. You want these just about to touch, but I'm going to want a different colour in there. So I'm going to add in my Pool Party. So I can now come round and add Pool Party to my outer edge, and you can do this fairly randomly, or you can do it more like this. As I say, what you want to do is try and avoid the colours touching too much. So I'm going to come in with a bit of Balmy Blue there, and then you're just going to wait a few moments for that to kind of spread a little bit. If you want to help it along, I probably haven't got one handy, an old gift card or something just to kind of move the ink around would be fine. But really you're just kind of, I'm just going to use the end of the bottle just to kind of squidge those together. Just to kind of, here we go. As I say, what you don't want is any kind of gaps, so I'm just going over and just sort of moving that ink out a little bit, and then I'm looking at that and sort of saying, is that the size of my stamp? I probably want it about that. That's fine. You could go slightly bigger, perhaps on the outer edge here, another bit of Highland Heather here, like so. Right, then we can start stamping. So, as you know, normally when we stamp we go tap 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 to get good coverage. If you do that, you're going to muddy your ink quite a bit, and by that I mean the colours are going to mix together, so you're going to end up with not quite such a defined. Depends on what you want. What I like to do is you can tap 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 up and down in broadly the same place, but just don't do it too much. And I might want a scrap of paper on the side of that, just because I'm going to come over the edge. And once you've tapped, press down, and that's actually worked really well this time. So again, I'm going to come in, I'm going to clean off my stamp first, so that again I'm not going to get any contamination of colours. 1, 2, 3. So I'm trying to get it in the same place all the time. And again, further down. And again, just going to turn it slightly. And down in this corner. And you'll see you get this lovely kind of washed out effect. I think it's so pretty. And then come in with my next size of stamp. And you want to make sure that these aren't overlapping too much. And then because I've sort of come in, I'm just going to come in with my smaller one now. So I'm going to put that where the 3 colours kind of join. And just fill in those little gaps. And then again here. And I say, if you use a fairly solid stamp, it'll pick up the colours. And in fact, this one's working out better than my first one, so which is nice. a little bit different. And I certainly think adding in that smaller stamp is well worth it. So I've just kind of done a swoosh across there. I haven't gone all the way over. You could if you wanted to. And then all that remains to do is clear the decks slightly, remove my post-it, and I'm now going to try and find those bits of card and paper that I cut before. There we go. So here's my DSP and here's my piece of Whisper White, and all I'm going to do is pop my sentiment, and I'm going to use the Highland Heather being the strongest of the three colours. I'm just going to pop that in the middle, and saying this fits perfectly on a 3/4 inch wide piece of paper. Unlock our punch and just pop that in. So there's a little channel in the middle there, so providing I've cut it reasonably accurately, she says optimistically, just push that all the way in, one end, all the way in, second end, and then the same with our 1 inch piece of DSP. Oh, and I've possibly cut that a little bit wide actually, it's not quite fitting in quite as well as it might. So just butt it up along one edge. There we go. And all that remains is to layer that up. So again, this is another one where, you know, if you're just starting out, it just shows that our stamp sets don't have to be used with all the bits in the suite. You can buy some of it, and as you gain in confidence, add a little bit more to it. Obviously you get the bundle discount, and that's always tempting, but you know, budgets don't always allow for that. So this is a way of using the stamp set, creating that lovely effect of these multicoloured snowflakes, and creating our lovely, quick and easy Christmas card. Now, wouldn't be complete if we didn't stamp on the inside, so all I'm going to do is pop 3 snowflakes in the corner and 1 in the top. And there we have our pretty Snowflake Splendour, Snowflake Wishes card. Just add your, well, 2 things, crease, reinforce, and add in your sparkles. So as I've said before, I am on a mission to try and improve my use of sparkles. So if you don't see me using enough sparkles, give me a shout and say, Heidi, you said you wanted to use more sparkles. And these, because they come in 2 sizes, are perfect to pop in those smaller ones as well. In fact, they come in, yeah, they do come in 3 sizes, yeah. So I'm using the larger ones in these larger snowflakes, just adding 3 on there. So, what do you think? Let me know. Don't forget, if you'd like to hear more from me, click on the subscribe button, click on that bell in YouTube for notifications, and pop along to my blog. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to purchase any of the products, pop along to flutterbyheidi.co.uk. You'll find the links there. You'll also find links to the products. If you go down to the description bar, click the little pointy arrow, and you'll find links to all of those items underneath this video as well. So thanks for watching. Bye.